Joining me now,
United States and around the world to bring you today's top stories happening now. Intense warfare right in the heart of Baghdad. U.S. troops are in the thick of the fight on the eve of the president's big Iraq speech. Are American forces in the combat zone counting on getting reinforcements? Also this hour, Democrats struggling with their response to Mr. Bush's new war plan. I'll ask Senator Ted Kennedy about his call for Congress to sign off on any troop increase and whether he's at odds with any of his party's leaders. Plus, House members start the clock on their first 100 hours. Is it a time frame for real action or simply a political stunt? We'll get a reality check. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. A leading Democratic critic of the Iraq war is laying down the gauntlet today for the president less than 48 hours before Mr. Bush unveils his next moves in Iraq. Senator Ted Kennedy says the president should be required to get approval, congressional approval, before he can boost troop levels. Kennedy's call is further complicating Democrats' efforts to forge a unified response to Mr. Bush's new battle plan. My interview with the senior senator from Massachusetts, that's coming up this hour. In Iraq today, another vivid reminder of the huge challenges for military and political leaders there, as well as right here in Washington. About 1,000 U.S. and Iraqi forces battled insurgents. It's some of the fiercest fighting in Baghdad in months. CNN's Michael Holmes is in the Iraqi capital. Our White House correspondent Suzanne Malveaux also standing by. But first to our congressional correspondent Dana Bash with more on what's going on the eve of the president's big speech. Dana?
Well, Wolf, what's happening is that Democrats are really wrestling with just how they are going to use the power that they have in the majority, how aggressive they're going to be in challenging the president's plan on Iraq. And that really is giving an early test to their discipline and unity. Just a short while ago, the Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid announced that there will be a Senate debate and a vote on a resolution, a non-binding resolution that would say that they disapprove of the president's plan to boost troop levels in Iraq. But there are some, especially those on the left, who say that is not why Democrats were elected, and a symbolic resolution doesn't go far enough. If the president wants to send more troops to Iraq and spend billions more dollars to support them, Democrat Ted Kennedy says Congress must first vote on it.
Let the American people hear, yes or no, where their elected representatives stand on one of the greatest challenges of our time. Iraq is George Bush's Vietnam.
The liberal Senate veteran is not just challenging the president, but also fellow Democrats, scrambling behind the scenes to figure out how far they can and should go with their new majority power to oppose the war.
We cannot simply speak out against an escalation of troops in Iraq. We must act to prevent it.
But instead of Kennedy's hard-hitting approach, the majority leader announced the Senate would vote on a symbolic resolution opposing more troops in Iraq.
If there is a bipartisan resolution saying we don't support this escalation of the war, that the president's going to have to take note of that.
Republican leaders are urging caution.
I think it is inappropriate for the Congress to try to micromanage, in effect, the tactics in a military conflict.
But the president can no longer rely on a GOP firewall of support. Republican Senator Gordon Smith, who recently soured on the war, tells CNN he thinks Kennedy's idea for a new congressional authorization is a good one.
But the more the Congress can be involved in the decision-making, the better. And that's what the American people are asking for. They're going to hold us accountable, and let's have the tools of accountability so we can be held responsible.
For now, Democrats say their main focus will be to scrutinize the president's Iraq plan in hearings, and those will start later this week. And there is still a lot of debates, though, behind the scenes, Wolf, on whether or not Democrats can or should block any additional funding for those additional troops. And what they're saying behind the scenes, especially somebody like Senator Kennedy, is, you know, if you wait too long, perhaps the troops will already be in the field, and then Democrats will be in the untenable political position that they have been all along by saying, you know, we want to stop this. We might even want to cut off funding, but we simply don't want to do that because that will harm men and women who are already in combat. Wolf.
All right, Dana, thank you very much. Dana Bash on the Hill. And I sat down with Senator Kennedy this afternoon. I asked him about his call for congressional approval of any increase in U.S. troop levels in Iraq. My one-on-one interview, the complete interview with Senator Kennedy. That's coming up this hour. We're only moments away from that. Let's go to the White House, though, first. And the final preparations now underway for the president's speech tomorrow night and the tough sell he'll try to make. We'll turn to our White House correspondent, Suzanne Malveaux. Suzanne?
Well, Wolf, I've been talking with sources all day who are familiar with the president's plan here, the New Way Forward is called, and they confirm that the president is calling for additional 20,000 U.S. troops to be phased into Baghdad and the area, that there will be a contingency force in Kuwait as well. And there are two big differences, they say, from the other failed plans of trying to secure Baghdad. The first one, they say, is that Iraqi President Nouri al-Maliki has committed to Bush a flood of Iraqi troops to be brought in with U.S. forces. Wolf, one U.S. Source saying that there will be a big redeployment of Iraqi troops from other areas into the capital city who will partner with American forces within a matter of weeks, not months, but within a matter of weeks, that being a very important point. The other one, of course, is that they say the other difference is that Maliki has personally reassured President Bush that what he says the rules of engagement for Iraqi troops will change. That is, that they will go after the Shiite militia associated with the powerful leader Muqtada al-Sadr, that the president is confident, that he is optimistic, that Maliki will, in fact, carry out that pledge. Now, while the White House is not giving any details about this, we heard earlier from officials who are also expressing faith.
The Iraqis understand that they have, that it is important for them to step up and succeed. Again, the end point of this, when we talk about the president's policy, what you're aiming at is an Iraqi government that's fully capable of handling all the responsibilities, from the rule of law to security to economic rules and so on.
And Wolf, certainly everyone is not convinced that the Maliki government really is going to follow through. I want to read sources familiar with deliberations over the plan say that there is concern inside the office of the Joint Chiefs, real doubt whether or not this strategy makes sense or will be adequate inside the Pentagon. A source telling me he described the mood as anxious, as nervous. He said, like taking a deep breath before you take that roller coaster ride. The point they're making here is they don't believe the military component really is the most important one, but it's all the other things as well. Economic reconstruction. There will be a $1 billion jobs plan for Iraqis that they certainly hope the administration's thinking is proves that the United States, this administration, is committed to the success of Maliki's government, and that this time is the best chance for Maliki to achieve that success. Wolf?
And the first test for him will be to see if he cracks down on Muqtada al-Sadr's Mahdi army, fellow Shiites. If he doesn't, that first test will have been a failure on the part of the Iraqi government from the Bush administration's perspective. Thanks, Suzanne, very much. Suzanne Malveaux, Dana Bash. As you know, they are part of the best political team on television. And this important note, stay right here on CNN for complete coverage of the president's Iraq speech tomorrow night. Paula Zahn will be joining me and the best political team on television for our 2-hour special beginning right here in the Situation Room at 7 p.m. Eastern. And remember, for all the latest political news at any time, check out our political ticker at cnn.com/ticker. Let's go to Baghdad now for the latest on the especially fierce fighting in the Iraqi capital today. CNN's Michael Holmes is there. Michael?
Wolf, as the U.S. contemplates more troops coming here, a dramatic example of what those troops would face. Disparate groups with varying agendas, but a common enemy. And that played out on the streets of the capital today.
U.S. jets screamed overhead. Apache strike helicopters fired missiles, all in the heart of Baghdad. The battlefield was the Haifa Street area of the capital, the scene of previous battles with insurgents, but this was a torrid and bloody affair. U.S. and Iraqi military officials said dozens of insurgents had been killed or wounded, many others detained, including what were described as some foreign nationals. No reports yet on U.S. or Iraqi casualties. Haifa Street is in a predominantly Sunni district and home to Ba'athist loyalists. It's also one of the city's main arteries, linking north and south. There have been numerous skirmishes in the area. Montgomery